welcome you all in this virtual info session for College of the Canyons with GEMS International School. My name is Nupur Anand. I take care of digital marketing in School Connect. Along with me, I have my colleague Afsha Aziz. She takes care of School Connect and student recruitment. So, starting with the college, which we have today, College of Canyons is a public community college operated by Santa Clarita Community College District in Santa Clarita. The college is accredited by the Western Association of Schools and College and has campus locations in Valencia and Canyon Country. The members joining us today from the college is Mr. Tim Honadell, who is Director International Student Program, Dr. Zai Cheng, who is Dean International Affairs and Global Engagement, and the third member is Maritza Munzon, who is International Service and Programs Technician. The school which we have today is one of the leading schools of India, GEMS International School. It is a flagship school with embedded modern facilities. They follow curriculums like Indian, UK's EYFS, IB, American, Canadian, British, French, and Arabic. From this wonderful school, we have members. First, Dr. Amrita Vora, who is currently working as Director of Education, Principal at GEMS International School. She is a PhD scholar in the field of study, English literature. She is skilled in professional development for school leaders, teachers, and other staff, new school setup, quality assurance review, 360-degree school audits, theatre, literature, teacher education, instructional design, and team building. The second member from the school is Kashish Behel. She is working as psychologist and school counselor. She has extensive experience in designing and executing PSHE life skill lessons from pre-primary to 12th grade and in conducting training and sanitization counseling workshop for staff and parents. The third member joining us today is Seema Prabhakar. She is currently working as head mistress and head parental engagement with over 16 years of experience. And now I would like to take this opportunity to give you a quick brief about UniBrijj. So we work as exclusive recruitment arm for universities. We are supporting universities through tailored student recruitment services like media planning, building network, direct sourcing channel, in-country representation, lead management, and other support functions. So that's it from my side. I welcome you all once again. Now I would request Tim to take this forward from here and give us a detail about the university.
Okay,
Over to you, Tim.
Great. Thank you very much. This is a fantastic opportunity in the world of education, and we have been doing. And I noticed a couple of things. One, I noticed that you pointed out the accreditation, and accreditation is a very important part of making a decision of what school to go to. And College of the Canyons is in the Western States accreditation, a very robust program. I also noticed when doing a little research on GEMS that online programs have been a big part of their success strategy for students for a long time. And that is the same as College of Canyons. College of Canyons has done online programs for about a decade now. And within the last few years, the Canvas program has been used. It's a very rich learning environment. So I think there's a lot of similarities. So let's go through this PowerPoint here, and we'll answer some questions at any time during the PowerPoint. You don't have to wait. There's nothing in this PowerPoint that anybody has to absolutely see in order to understand. We can have a dialogue. You can ask questions at any time. If the PowerPoint doesn't seem like it's what you're interested in hearing, then let's just talk. We will hopefully have a guest speaker today, Andy of Andy Homestay International, he runs the housing program in the Santa Clarita Valley for the universities, and so he'll be possibly talking about his housing program, and I can also answer questions about the housing program. So this is good. We'll talk about it, and here we go. So the College of the Canyons is one of many community colleges in California. We have 200 international students. Now we have many students at our school from all over the world. An international student is specifically a student on an F1 visa. We have international students on all sorts of visas, students that are citizens, students that are on green cards from all over the world. But we have 200 students in my program that I provide student support services to. Right now, this past semester, I had 20 staff members. So we had 20 people to support 200 international students. Basically, that means our success rate is very high. So the 2+2 program is something which is generally unique in Canada and the United States. The university, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in another slide, in the United States is a 4-year program. The first 2 you go to a community college, and the second 2 go to a different school. That other school is where you receive the diploma. We'll talk about this again. But in the United States, there are over 3 million students doing this 2+2 program. In California, there's 2 million of them. So many students do this. It's a very common thing for local students in California to do. When you jump into a community college like College of the Canyons, you have access to the entire United States for your next school. So remember, it's 2+2. So second year, and you're done with me, and the third and fourth year you spend at the next school, and there's so many choices. This is a good layout of how school is structured. And as you can see right here in the bachelor's degree area where my mouse is, there's associate degrees. Community colleges do have associate's degrees. However, I do want to say that almost all of our international students are really going for a bachelor's degree. So they just complete their first 2 years with us, and they complete the second 2 years for a bachelor's degree. They get their diploma from that school, and they move on to master's and doctoral degrees, or they head home, or they go to work, and we're going to talk a little bit about work opportunities. Keep in mind, these classes that are taken at the community college level, they are the same level of rigor as a class that is taken at the 4-year university level. So UCLA is not far from College of the Canyons. The freshman and sophomore coursework, the books, sometimes the teachers, are exactly the same as at UCLA. The same as with UC Berkeley. And if they're the same at UCLA and UC Berkeley, they certainly are rigorous enough for the rest of the state of California and of the United States. So this is not a lower quality. It just means there's a lot more student services for those first 2 years for students before they move to the bachelor's degree and the student services disappear. The Santa Cruz Valley is where College of the Canyons is located. And this is really important. We'll talk a little bit more about urban, rural, and suburban. But the location of where that first school is, that freshman and sophomore years of that student, is very important. It needs to be safe. It needs to have lots of good services for students. It needs to have bus systems for students and biking paths for students so that they don't have to spend a lot of money on cars if they don't want to. And so the Santa Cruz Valley is specifically designed to be a school town, K through 12 and those first 2 years. The entire town is designed specifically for schooling, so the systems are excellent. And the result of that is the community is excellent for students. That's very important. Here's some pictures of my community. I'm sure when you look at the slides later, there's so many more pictures and videos, but this is just a taste. So the question I get a lot from students is, well, what will I study? I want to study computer science. Do you have computer science? I want to study sociology. Do you have sociology, psychology, engineering, business, law? Okay, so we'll go over this a couple of times because I know that sometimes it's hard to understand, but think of the 4-year system. There's 4 years for a bachelor's degree. The first 2 years are your freshman and sophomore years. They're mostly lower division classes with some major classes in your area of study. It's the same at almost every school. So the answer to what will I study is you will study whatever you want to study, whatever pathway gets you to that bachelor's degree that you're looking for. So I explain that usually to students, and then they say, well, but like, what will I study? Okay, we have every major. We have the entire country, and just in California alone, there is every major. There's no major you can think of that is not in California, because the 30 transfer schools that are public and the 70 transfer schools that are private just in California have every major. So what are you going to study when you come to College of Canyons? You're going to study whatever you intend to study. Now, we also have a benefit. In the community college level, students can do experimentation. So if they're not positive that they really want to be in business, maybe they want law or physics or engineering, the coursework that they're going to take is going to let them explore that. So are the student clubs, physics club, business club, any club. Those let you explore what does it mean to be in that major. Plus, we'll talk about this some more. The exploration continues after the first 2 years with a work period, an optional work period of 1 year in your area of study, which gives you additional experience. It's during that work period, oftentimes students solidified their desire for their area of study. They weren't really sure. Maybe their mom told them they needed to study engineering, but they weren't positive. Then they went to work for an engineering firm. They met real engineers. They saw what real engineering projects are like. They spent time on engineering projects, and they said, this is me. I am an engineer. When they do that and they move on to their second 2 years at that prestige school for their engineering degree, that is amazing. That really makes them robust students. So another question I get from students, which is lifestyle questions. Where will I live? What will I eat? Will I have friends? Well, community colleges have two ways of living. Almost all community colleges do not have dormitories. Think of it this way. Community colleges were designed specifically so local students could stay at home, mom cooks dinner, does the laundry, and they go to school for the first 2 years. Because in the United States, many students get a master's degree. So they're going to transfer to that other school. The expense goes way up. All of the expenses with living, all the expenses of tuition, it goes up. And they only have to spend 2 years doing that. The first 2 years are very inexpensive. Plus, they're going to get a master's degree. So they have the living expenses and the tuition for that master's degree. So the community college system is set up without dormitories. Now, because of COVID-19, it turned out that was a great plan, because all across the country, kids got kicked out of their dorms and they're standing out there with their suitcases. That never happens at College of the Canyons. There's two ways to live in College of the Canyons. Number one is homestay, and Andy probably will be joining us. He runs the homestay program in the Santa Cruz Valley for the 3 universities out here. It's an important part of College of the Canyons success strategy. So you can see it's a beautiful home and you have a bedroom on your own. Students have a tendency to stay there for sure for the first semester, sometimes for duration of study. But there are also apartments with roommates, which is kind of more common in the idea of the college vision outside of dorms. When there's a dorm, typically local students are forced to be there the first year as a freshman, but then after that, they can live wherever they want. They always move out of the dorms because it's not a great experience, and they move in apartments with a couple of friends. So we have both. All right, so we took care of where will I live? How about what will I eat? All right, okay. So you're in the Santa Cruz Valley. It's gonna be American food. We do have good Indian food, good Japanese food, but we don't have all the same kinds of foods that you're used to at home from the region of where your students are going to be coming from. It's not always the same. So they are going to have to adjust the food, but they will be fine. The important thing they learn is you can't eat at McDonald's every day. You won't feel good. So that's part of the homestay process. Meals are part, and they're healthy, good, robust, good, good meals for a student, and they're made by the parents at that house. So the first semester in particular, a lot of meals are home cooked meals at the homestay program. So where we eat, their kids will survive on the food. But what about friends? Are they going to be lonely? They're the only one coming from their school in high school. They don't know anybody here. Well, we have friends programs. It's called students clubs. We get tons of student clubs. You can't go friendless here. This system is designed to integrate everybody together and make sure you meet tons of other students. So your students are going to have great experiences both with professors and with their peers. It's designed to be that way, designed to have that engagement on campus. every kind of club you can imagine, and every semester we have students starting new clubs. So it's a great experience. So we talked about living, eating, and friends. Those are three important things. You're going to miss your family if you're a student, of course. But fortunately, it's not in the old days like me where you had to write a letter, wait 3 weeks. Now you can Zoom, or you can go to webinar like we're doing with your mom and dad. And the homestay program has that integration where once a week, the parents from the student can talk to the parents at the homestay. And so, you know, there's a lot of communication. Unfortunately, we have the internet, and it's changed everything, both for online education and for study abroad. So I also get asked a lot by sports. So sports are an interesting thing at community college. The sports programs compete against other community colleges, but the sports programs have two features and two missions. Mission number one, give students an opportunity to play sports. You don't have to be a professional grade sport person to play in College of the Canyons. You can just love the sport. But let's say you do have ambitions for a scholarship of some kind to that next school, and you're really good at your sport. What's going to happen is you're going to have a coach who identifies you as that great student and starts pushing you out to all the other schools that need your skill set, your particular position on the team or whatever. And they know you, and they get those coaches seeing you, and you get picked up by those schools. It happens all the time. Off campus is important. And here's what we can talk about: three things. There's different types of community colleges. There are very rural community colleges, hours and hours away from any airport. You can drive 12 hours to get to Siskiyou Community College. So those schools are for the type of personality. Maybe they want to study agriculture, because that's a lot of what they focus on in the rural areas. Then there's downtown campuses. Now, downtown campuses are a lot like a four-year school. There's no dorms, and so you do have to travel for housing, but they're in that big city vibe. You've got lots of bars and lots of discos and lots of people of various different socioeconomic levels to deal with. It is that urban environment that you're probably going to get if you transfer to a name brand school in California like UCLA or Berkeley. There's lots of other schools to transfer, like UC Stanislaus or in Monterey, where it's much mellower for your second, your upper division, your second 2 years. But we also have urban. Most of the community colleges all across the country are in suburban environments, which means they're an hour outside of a big urban area, which means your world that you deal with on a daily basis is very different than it would be in urban. It's much more culture than in a rural area, but it's not that big city downtown. So you got that best of both worlds kind of combined. College of the Canyons is an example of a school that's in an excellent suburban location. Santa Cruz, I like to say it's the biggest small town I've ever been in. And like I said before, it's specifically designed for students to go to school, and then they leave for their second 2 years and their master's degree. So that kind of oversight of kind of what off-campus life is going to be like. In a suburban environment, off-campus is hanging out with your friends, going to the movies, doing homework, and depending on where the campus is located, there might be some shopping. There's likely to be some hiking, bike riding, those kind of things. There's one small venue for concerts, but there's no like discotheque kind of thing that you see in the movies. And there's no fraternity parties like you see in the movies. So it is not that very overwhelming, amazing party experience that you get at an urban school. You can do that if you want to for the second 2 years, but for the first 2 years, you're supposed to be doing your homework. That's how College of the Canyons is set up. So community college and College of the Canyons, we get a lot of questions about this. The first one we'll look at, the barriers. There's very few barriers to entry. If the language of instruction has been English, which is most likely in all of your schools at GEMS, there's no test, nothing. You finished GEMS, you graduated from GEMS, you're in. That's all there is to it. That's all I need to know. There is no evidence that an SAT score equates to student completion. There's so many other factors around acclimation, family support, work ethic, academic aptitude. Those are the things that really matter when it comes to completion, not an SAT test. That's a barrier. We've removed all the barriers at College of the Canyons. That doesn't mean that the instruction is inferior. What it means is we have a lot of tutoring, free tutoring. We've got great library services, great research services. Our instructors are accessible. Classroom sizes are small. There's 20 kids instead of 200 kids in a freshman class. It means that we're designed to make that student be successful. We don't need an SAT score to do that. All right, affordability. So low cost tuition, that is a big feature of colleges that are community colleges. My school charges $10,000 a year for tuition. That's it. You pay for the classes you take. You take more classes, you pay a little more. Take less classes, you pay a little less. But there's no reason to make a profit off of students. Plenty of that will happen when they move to the next school and they go to USC at $70,000 a year. We don't need that. So the cost and the diploma doesn't come from College of the Canyons. The diploma comes from the school you graduate from. And it doesn't say anything like started at College of the Canyons. I always say this, you and your student will completely forget me. They will remember GEMS, they will remember UniBrijj, they will remember UC Berkeley, but they will not remember College of the Canyons. All we did was give them their first 2 years. Their diploma doesn't say College of the Canyons. Their employers don't know about College of the Canyons. Nobody cares because that's how the system works in California. It's a normal process. Let's talk about work. There's a unique rule in the United States because of community colleges. And that's what I was telling you about before, about if you do your classes right at College of Canyons, you do what I tell you to do, you can work for 1 year after your sophomore year. It's like a work gap year between the first 2 years and the second 2 years of school. You can work in that field. Lots of students do it and they go, wow, I really like this major, or wow, I need to think about doing something else because this isn't what I want to be doing. Law, big example. Lots of students think they want to be lawyers, then they go work at a law firm and they think, you know what, I'm thinking something else maybe might be better for me. They pick up a couple extra classes and they do their transfer, or they just make their changes at the transfer school they've already been accepted to. The school they transfer to, that work gap is no problem. In California, it's totally normal. It's done all the time, so they completely understand it. You get to work again when you finish your bachelor's degree, so you get 2 work periods. That helps bolster the student's resume when it goes time to go get a job after finishing all their studies and all their work experiences. So it gives them a little bit of an edge up. Plus, like I said before, students that go to work, even if it's for just a few months, like a summer program, then in their major, they enter those second 2 years with a renewed vigor about accomplishing their goal and being basically top students, because now they know what they're doing. They have a vision. They know what's going to happen afterwards. And let's talk about this last one, guaranteed transfer. We get a lot of that. Well, will the units transfer? Will the credits transfer? Will the class hours transfer? What if they won't take them? How do you know they'll take them? Can you prove it? It is the law. And we'll talk some more about that, I'm sure, because it never ends. But in California, it's the law. The classes transfer. There's no question. Also, that if it transfers to Berkeley, one of the best schools in the United States, it transfers to almost any other school in the United States. There are some liberal arts schools in the Midwest that kind of have their own program, maybe for religious studies or something. They kind of have their own idea of what classes to take. That's it. But everybody else, everything transfers. So we don't need to talk about this because your students speak English, but if they didn't, all they got to do is take Duolingo. We'll come back to that if you have any questions about it. So we talked about no SAT. We talked about the tuition. Here's a perfect example of community college cost savings. You could pay up to $70,000. A lot of times they'll give you a $30,000 scholarship or a $40,000 scholarship, but you're still paying a lot more than community college. So you save a lot of money. Not all communities, not all students are price sensitive. Some students have access to a lot of funds and the money doesn't matter. So what we offer instead is success and access to the top schools in California. If they don't care about the fact that my tuition is low, great, good for them. But they still have access to UC Berkeley. If they do care about tuition, then we're there. And if you're part of a scholarship program, say a state program or something like that, that state program doesn't have to spend as much money if you go through the college system. So we talked about low-cost tuition. We talked about OPT. A lot of questions I get about this OPT work thing is, how will I find a job? Well, College of the Canyons has an entire career center dedicated to matching you with an employer. So it's almost always works out perfectly. So we talked about option to work. Here's a copy of the front page of the memo. This is proof that there's transferability between the UC system and the College of the Canyons. I don't know why people need proof. We've been doing it this way for years. This memo came out in 2018, just solidifying it in paper, but we've been doing it for years before that too. This is a common, normal program. So we talked about guaranteed transfer. So next question always is, I ask the students when I talk to them, can you do it? So if I'm meeting with parents and a student, which happens a lot, one student, I might spend an hour and a half, 2 hours explaining things to them, talking to their mom and dad. There's a translator sometimes. Can you do it? And the answer is yes. Here's some examples. So if you look here, you can see here's a student. This student happens to be from College of Canyons. Here's all the schools they got accepted to: UCLA, San Diego. They eventually went to UCLA. So they get their pick of California top-ranked schools. Here's Jarrett, same thing. He went to UC Berkeley, got accepted to all these schools. Dana got accepted to schools. She got accepted to schools outside of California. She's in North Carolina, Northeastern University, and George Washington. Now, she chose Berkeley. People choose Berkeley a lot. It is an extremely well-known, good school. It's also in the big city. You need to be kind of a grown-up to go there. So you transfer there as a junior, you're going to be okay. You go as a freshman, it's a big lifestyle change. Mose Park barely spoke English when he came to me. He got accepted to all these schools. Is he super IQ genius kid? No. He got a lot of support. He was persistent. He did what we told him to do. He got into Berkeley. John Garzone, he might be joining us today. He went to College of the Canyons, then he went to Berkeley, then he transferred to Harvard Law, and he graduated from Berkeley and Harvard law schools. And now he's working for a prestige law firm in Los Angeles. Perfect example. These examples I showed you are not unique. This is a common experience from College of the Canyons. It's the way the program is designed. So there's over, I said 3, there's over 4 million students in the 2+2 program. The degree is exactly the same. Here's what I want to tell you about that. Like GEMS, for years, College of the Canyons has had online programs. These are not recorded lectures you watch and then you write a paper. These are rich learning environments, multimodal, all different types of learning is incorporated in it. There's a rich environment out there on the internet of things, tools for learning, that's all incorporated into the classes. We have had, because of requests in the past, students study first from home. They're exactly the same classes. They're transferable to Berkeley, so any school will take them. They save a lot of money on tuition, on living expenses, and they stay a little bit at home. Sometimes they do the whole freshman year. Usually they just do about 15 credit hours or 15 units, about half a semester over a year. Then they come face to face. So if you're doing 1+1, you do the first year at home, then you come do the first year face to face with me in Santa Cruz Valley at College of the Canyons, and then you transfer and you go wherever you're going to go in the world. So we have that. We've been doing it. It's not hard. All of your students can take classes from wherever they want to be as long as they have an internet connection. So we have 1+1+2, which I know GEMS is already familiar with, the online robustness that is available to students. And that's pretty much all I got to say. I know it's kind of been rapid fire, but it's time for questions. We'll have more people joining us. I hope this was useful, and I'm going to unshare my screen if I can figure out how.
Thank you,
And there we
Tim. That
go.
was really
And we're
wonderful.
all back. The College of the Canyons
Thank you
experience
so much.
is an amazing experience for students.
The examples that you have shared with us are really impressive and motivating for the students. Now, can I request Dr. Vora to speak a little bit about the school?
Thank you, Tim. That was indeed a really good explanation and really quick one. And you did answer most of the questions that I had in my mind. I have a few more, and I'll come to those. And yes, at GEMS, we are running a very successful online education program at this point in time, given the COVID scenario. Well, it's been more of something which we had to do. Given the number of cases in India, the safety situation for children in India as of now. So we've been doing it. Parents are exceptionally happy with it. But yes, emotional, social well-being of children is very key, and let's hope and pray that this emergency situation is behind us soon, and we're able to see children, the classrooms filled with children again soon. Yeah, but to tell you a little more about the school, this team is from the GEMS International School in India, which happens to be in the National Capital Region, Delhi, and surrounded, Gurgaon, very close to that. And we have been one of the flagship schools of GEMS in India. Otherwise, GEMS Education has more schools in Dubai and spread across the globe, across various countries, including the Americas, and so on. So yes, there is a lot of, mostly in the Gulf, but yes, the spread is very wide and far out. And across all the countries, all the schools, we are being able to work on the remote learning model very, very well. Apart from that, as we speak today, I mean, a student exchange program is going on virtually. And the online thing has opened up a lot of avenues for children, for like children who were not able to afford, participating in certain things. The costs were prohibitory. Now with virtual opportunities, a lot of those have become available to everybody. So yes, that is there. Teachers have put in a lot of hard work. So I'll really give all that credit to all the teachers who are so passionate, and they've been doing it. Credit also goes to parents who've been cooperating and who've been really supporting everything that we've initiated. There was some resistance to change, there always is. And we understand that everybody currently in India is going through a very tough time. So it's a big economic crisis also, apart from a health crisis. And a lot of uncertainty around almost anything and everything, which is taking its toll on people. But people have bonded together. Parents and teachers have really worked together. That is the beauty of it, for the benefit of children. Now, shall I come to questions? If you're okay with that, Afsha?
Yeah, questions would be fantastic. We always
Yeah.
learn more from asking questions than we do from some PowerPoint.
Yeah, sure. So thanks a ton for that.
I know I know it is gonna be a rapid fire round.
I think Tim kept it quite rapid fire, and he's built the momentum for it that way, right? I'm not expecting you to give me rapid fire answers for sure, but I'm sure you have those responses. See, there's a lot of uncertainty about the visa in particular at this point in time. So Indian children who were originally thinking about maybe moving to a college in the West or any part of the world are now wondering whether that will be possible, not possible. So visa is a key, and you mentioned the online from home, like the freshman, maybe a part of it can be done online, which is great. But then the child or the parent will always be worried that after that, will I get a visa, or am I, ending up wasting this point in time? I mean, this period of time for my education. So any positive this thing on it?
Yes, that's a common question all over the world. So here's what we found. because here's what we found. When a student goes to get a visa and they demonstrate that they are an earnest student and they're a committed student and their purpose for the visa is to be a student and they have a plan and they know where they're going to live, they know what school they're going to transfer to, they know what they want to study, and they portray that in that 3 minutes that they have with the consular office, they get the visa. When they come in unsure of themselves, they don't really know the name of the city they're going to live in, they don't have a picture of the homestay they're going to be at, they don't know where they're going to transfer, oftentimes they don't get the visa. And what we see is when a student is being accepted into George Washington University, UCLA, or Berkeley, the consular office figures, they must be smart kid, even if they can't hardly look me in the eye. And so, they might be a little immature, but they're going to Berkeley, so they get the visa. When they show up for College of the Canyons visa, and they're like that, they don't get the visa because the consular's office, you have no idea what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. You don't know what you're doing. So what we found is that students who take courses from home and they bring that, I have taken 15 credit hours. Look, I got straight A's. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to transfer to Cal Poly Pomona. I'm going to live at this house that Andy put me in. Here's the people and their dog and the swimming pool. Give me my visa. They get their visa. So we've seen an increase in visa approval rates when students have completed coursework in advance, not because they've done the coursework, but because the process of doing that coursework makes them more mature adults. And when they go to that consular office, they're more confident. And they've been busy taking these courses, planning things with Andy, talking to our counselors. They know where they're going to live. They know the name of their town. They understand the transfer process. They know what they need to do to accomplish that transfer process. And they portray that in the interview with the consular. And that's why they get the visa. So let's say worst case scenario, they don't get the visa. Keep in mind, they still want university, right? They're not going to stop and decide to just drive a taxi. I mean, no offense to taxi drivers. We all need them, but they're not just going to stop. But now they have taken coursework, which is accepted at UC Berkeley. I'm convinced those courses will be accepted at many other universities in Australia, UK, and Canada, because they'll just do a credit evaluation. They'll look at the syllabus and they'll assign some credits associated with that work. It's not all lost work. Plus, two other things. One, it's really inexpensive, so you didn't lose that much money. Second, what else are you going to do? If you can't get the visa now, you're just going to, sit at home and play video games? You need to be engaged in the academic world. Students can't exit that academic world for a long time. They lose their student skills. They need to be doing something academically all the time, fall, winter, spring, and summer, until that visa world reopens. So they need to be engaged. They do not have to take a full course load. I want them to take a full course load, but they don't have to. Indian students don't have that language barrier that Asian students have or South American students have. So they're at a big advantage. They should take a full course load. They don't have to. So as long as they're engaged a little bit, so that they just work through this process until visa process opens back up, then they get on the visa, they get on the plane, and they come see us. So I'm convinced that although it's a brand new concept, we've only seen maybe a handful of students try it. The students that all took online classes, they all got visas in a world which they may or may not have received that visa. So let's hope for the best, but let's keep the students engaged in something academic. And it's a perfect way to do it through College of the Canyons. And even if they don't come here later because they choose a different school, they still have that experience academics and they have those units. That's what I think is the most important. Remember, College of the Canyons is designed for student success. So if a student takes one class with me and that's it, and then transfers to Berkeley, great. I'm all for it because they were going to go to Berkeley anyway. They just couldn't get the visa. But don't let them sit at home doing nothing. That's really not good.
Yeah, makes sense. But then, what does a student really do? If you could share some more light on, like, supposing the student wants to go to a UCLA or a UC Berkeley after that. So you said that there are so many students, you shared so many examples of students who do get transferred to these colleges after College of Canyons. So how does that happen, and what do they really do to help them, reach a college of this level?
Right. So there's three things that a student needs to get into Berkeley from College of the Canyons. They need good grades, depends on what they want to study. Sometimes they have to have very high grades, and sometimes they can have lower grades, depends on the topic. And the second thing is they need to demonstrate the development of leadership skills. The college has an expectation you come as a junior, you're mature. So those are what the student clubs do. And the third thing is that you need to get to know your professors, because you need those letters of recommendation. And since the class sizes are small, you're going to have 20 different professors during your 2 years with College of the Canyons. You need 2 letters. So you just need to really have that personality that fits well with a professor. With 2 professors, you're going to get great letters of recommendation. So that's sort of from the academic side. You already know the classes are the same classes. All the classes transfer. That's none of it. Then there's the academic side. Then there's the administrative side. How do you go from College of the Canyons to UCLA? Well, it's the system in California. It's designed to work that way. The UCLA knows all about College of the Canyons, knows all about College of Canyons teachers, knows all about College of Canyons classes. It's the same coursework UCLA designed. We just copied it. So it's an integrated system. So administratively, transferring within California is very, very easy. And we have all different levels of transfer depending on the grades of the student. You can take a student who's not a good student, who does not have an academic aptitude, and you can put that student into a bachelor's degree program in California, and they will get a bachelor's degree. You can also take a top student, academic high aptitude, and you can put them into UCLA, Berkeley, UC Irvine, Davis, whatever they want to get into. So we have all levels also within California. Transferring outside of California is very, very simple. They just look at the transcripts. They see that you're from College of the Canyons, and they take all the classes. It's not hard. So it's a little bit different administratively, which my office takes care of if you're transferring outside of California than inside. But inside California, it's just you fill the paperwork out. Outside California, you fill the paperwork out and you give them a transcript. That's really the only difference. So it's all managed by the college because it is our mission to transfer students to universities around the United States. So it's what we do. It's not a tricky process. We understand how it works perfectly. It's hard to explain to the rest of the world. There's 2 million students doing this just in California.
Tim, can I interrupt a little bit? Hello, good morning, Dr. Doha and partners. I'm so sorry to interrupt this little because we have a special guest, Andy, because he doesn't have a time limit. I want to make sure that the school hear from someone who is going to help your students to settle into the United States right at the time that they landed at the airport. And I think that's sometimes even more important in so many things, because by the time students get to our door, we will take care of them. But how do they get from your door to our door? I think Andy plays a very, very important role. And I know Andy's very busy. He does have to have something at 8:30 that he has to attend to. So Andy, if you don't mind, give us 5 to 7 minutes of briefly how you take care of our students. What you do, that'd be great. Thank you so much. And we will put the questions momentarily afterwards. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hi, hello everyone. Good morning or evening or wherever we are. Yeah, my name's Andy. I work with College of the Canyons with Dr. J and with Tim, providing the housing for all the international students that do come here and study at College of the Canyons. It's a great program where safety is obviously the utmost, making sure the students feel safe, and more importantly that the parents feel safe that their students or their children are here. I have traveled the world myself, working on cruise ships for several years, going to different countries in a leadership role. And so I kind of know what it's like to be in a foreign place with the language isn't your strongest or at all for me in a lot of cases. I'm English originally, so I have moved to America. So I know what it's like to be here, going through the visa process. It can be stressful. I know that. I've been denied multiple visas and received multiple visas. You know, it's different on so many levels. No student visas. I don't think I was ever clever enough to get a student visa, but so many different types of visas. But we also, me and my wife, lived in China for a year teaching English. So that was the biggest change for us, because that language is totally different to anything we've ever taught, learned, heard, anything like that. So I kind of know what it's like to get off a plane at the airport and just look around and say, now what? It's all good and well having your whole plan laid out with school and you know where you're going to be and you know what you're going to do. But that little break between leaving your parents and the comfort of your own home to the first day of school can be very daunting. So I work this program around 100% help for the students. I will, once the student sends the application to me and they fill in all the details that they want, you know, or what they need or needs they have, or if they don't like dogs or they want to live with other children of the similar age or anything like that, we match that to the application that the hosts submit to me, and we do our very best to meet everyone's requirements. If I can, I will show the student 3 or 4 different homes, pictures of the homes and things like that, a little bit about each host family, so that the student can have a choice in which home they go to. Once they've decided on the home, we will try and connect the host and the student together through WhatsApp or whichever app they prefer to use, whether it be Facebook or anything else. And then once all that's underway, and their flights are booked and everything's good, myself personally and the host, if available, will go to the airport and pick them up personally. I'll stand there with a sign with their name on it. I have a welcome bag with a balloon and a bus pass and a phone card and everything that they're going to need when they first get here. I then take pictures together as a group and that I send to their parents personally, just so that they can see, you know, I have your child, they are safe, we are all good, everyone's here. And then I will personally take the student to the host home, or if the host is with me, obviously they can drive them to their own home. We get them set up in the house, make sure everyone's happy and safe, and then usually jet lag kicks in. But after that, I make sure they can open a bank account. Again, either me personally or the host, because a lot of my hosts have done this multiple times, so they know my favorite bank to go to, you know, for the easiest way of setting them up. We get them phone cards, we get everything they sort of need set up, and then either they will already know what day they need to check in with COC. It's usually 72 hours after they land, or I'll contact him if the student doesn't know and I'll find out. And then we make sure the student checks in that allotted window just to say, yes, they're here in the country. Once they've done that, there's usually 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before the first day of school. So in that time period, that's when the host will drive them around, we'll show them where the mall is, we'll show them where the shops are, get them acclimated to Santa Clarita and their home, and show them where the local bus stop is or their closest bus stop and how to take the bus if need be to get to school. I do provide every student with a free bus pass every month. So if they need to take the bus, they can take the bus, no questions asked. It's just a card, you just swipe it when you get on the bus. And I also provide the host and the students with a number of apps that I've found over the years that really help with the bus system. So there's one of the apps you open, it tells you exactly where you are, it knows where you are, and then you put in where you want to go, and it tells you which bus line to take, what buses to do, the whole step-by-step process. And if they really get stuck or lost, they can always call me or the host, obviously, to help them out. We try and make the whole process as easy and as comfortable as possible, just because, like I say, I know what it's like to come into a new country and just be like, now what do I do? So we try and make it as easy. And again, it's not all about the students. It's also for the parents, because as a new parent, I wouldn't dream of sending my child around the world without knowing that they're 100% safe every step of the way. Once everyone is here, we have like a welcome party, if you will. It's like a big pizza social. We go to a local pizza venue. I buy all the pizzas and drinks and things, and all the hosts and all the students come, and we have a big social meet where we introduce each other, ourselves and each other, and then so the students can meet each other before they even get to school, so they have a familiar face on that first day of school. The hosts get to know each other. A lot of my hosts now do know each other through this process, but we try and make the whole host family business a family, so that they can call each other. The new host call that host that have been doing it for years if they've got any questions. How did you solve this problem or this issue, or what did you do with, so they can help out with experience, because obviously they have experiences that I don't have as not hosting a student. So we do that, and then also during that 2-week period before school starts, we'll go out for maybe bowling nights. That's a popular one where we just all get together one night, and I just take all the students and we go bowling for a couple of hours, and again, get some food or something like that. Just ice breaking, just confidence building, just to make friends, really, because that first day of school is probably daunting enough without having one familiar face that you may have spoke to 2 or 3 times. Just takes the edge off the big daunting world of College of the Canyons when you've traveled halfway around the world. So it's just little things that we've experienced over time that we know just makes that little bit of difference. Just someone to sit next to and say, hey, on that first day when they're doing their orientations, that really makes a big difference. Here as well, I don't know if it's been mentioned, but we do have Six Flags, which is our local theme park. It's all roller coasters and big, adrenaline junkie things. I try and take anyone that wants to go. We'll go for a day out there as well, and that's another team building or ice breaking activity that we like to try and do. Just again, because nothing gets you talking like adrenaline, so it's just something else that we can do whilst we're here, just to get them all set up. But it's just all about that, making it easy, making the transition easy to come in. As far as the homes themselves, me personally, I will go and visit every single home and host family in Santa Clarita that wants to be a host, because I wouldn't send my child to just an address in India, let's say, without knowing that someone's been, and know that A, there's a home there, B, that they're nice people and they are who they say they are. We do background checks on the hosts, on anyone over 18 in the home, anything like that. It's just all about making sure that it is what it is. Once I'm there, I'll take pictures of the whole home, and then I make like a little video slideshow, if you will, that's what I send to the students for them to choose once they're here, or before they come here, sorry, to choose those homes. We do try and choose homes as close to Colleges of the Canyons as we can, but with the layout of California and America in general, I guess, things are spread out, so that's why we do the bus passes for the students that are slightly further afield, that might take them 20 minutes to get here on the bus or something like that. But it's all relative, and there's lots of Ubers and Lyfts that the students usually end up taking anyway. But no, it's just all about making that first step, making it easy. The other one, actually, sorry, I forgot to mention, was the meals are included. So the host will cook for the student for breakfast and dinner. So that's another weight off the parents' mind, that the students aren't trying to cook for themselves, or aren't trying to fend for themselves, or they're just eating junk food every day. It is going to be, there are some home cooked meals that so they are eating healthy, or at least eating. So, and then once the students and the host get to know each other, the host could take the students to the supermarket, they buy the ingredients, and then the student might be able to cook for the host family to share their local delicacies or cuisines, or whip up a good curry. I'm always down for a good curry. But it's so it's a cultural exchange, not just for the student, but it's also for the host family as well. So they may become good friends, and then I've got a lot of students that are lifelong friends with the hosts, even though after they've moved on and moving on to whichever UC they graduate into. So it's just a good all-round friendly, we try and make it as easy as possible. So, like I say, if there's any further questions, I'm more than happy to help. You can hammer me with anything you like.
So, Andy, that's really wonderful to hear, because you know the social emotional aspect of it, the way you have discussed it just now. As you said, those little things really make a huge difference. So
It,
that's the key. And
I think it is. Like I say, you know, school, you know, it is what it is. Anyone can, you know, get the visa and go to school, things like that. But it's just making that first day just that little bit less scary. And you know, you're making lasting relationships with friends for the whole time that you're here, really. So, and I try and get involved and make as many friends as I can, and you know, take them out to restaurants and local cuisine and things. So,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Your intervention stays limited to the very initial days, or it continues sort of through their stay or something?
Oh no, I'm here the whole time. Me and my wife and family and everyone that works around this homestay lives here in Santa Clarita. So anytime there's something going on, any the ISP, I will go. My wife will go. We know we're involved the whole way, and any help they need whilst they're here, you know, I'm just a message away or a phone call away, whatever they need. We're always doing things, and then we even the next time round, the next semester, the new students come in. I can still invite, or you know, put the invite out to the older students. They would then be the older students to bring them into the new party. To you know, sometimes they give their experience. You know, they've been, let's say they've lived it more than I have, so they can give their insight into sort of what it is. So we try and say, I've been there. I've been that kid that's just come into the country and like I don't know anyone. I don't speak you know the language when I was in China or you know things like that. So I know what it's like to just try and take the edge off.
Yeah, that's really heartening to know. Kashish, you have any questions from Andy? Why I'm asking her is because she happens to be our student counselor.
Okay.
So about psychology background, Kashish, I mean,
Yeah, no, of course we do. Yeah, we do full background. Oh, sorry, I'm talking. Yeah, we do the full background checks for criminal and drugs, and you know, it brings it all up for me so I can see. And you kind of get a sense that's why I like to go meet people in person, because you kind of get a sense straight away that hold on, this might not be right. I'm a pretty good judge of character these days, but then you never know. So that's why we do the background checks as well, just as a secondary backup. And you know, we don't use homes that I wouldn't want to sleep in. So it's one of those. Say if I'm not going to be comfortable, I'm certainly not going to put a student in there whose first impression of all of America is where I place them. That's a big you know. Then they go home or they tell their parents, "Oh, look where I am. This is America." No, we try and make it as you know as perfect as possible, if you will. So
I know, Andy, you have to go at 8:30?
If I can, yes. I do have to start another meeting, but if maybe Dr. J or Tim can share my email information or you know website, anything like that. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to email me, and then that would be where students would be able to fill an application on my website or email me directly, and then I can send them the applications and we can get moving from there.
Can you put your email and your website on the chat? So that way the school and the counselor can have it right away, and so is our partner region.
Everyone chat. Yeah. Okay.
And as Andy is doing that, I just want to emphasize that we did an internal research data collection. Students who actually stay with Andy, their grades are significantly higher. We have a group of 20 students. So out of the, just as an example, out of the 20 students, that the 10 or 12 students who actually stay at Andy's homestay, they all have 3.0 or higher. And we're talking about first semester. And the students who did not, their GPA, unfortunately, was lower than we would like them to be. So we see a very obvious cut line. Students at Andy's homestay because his family, most of them are college personnel as well, usually college professors or college administrators or college staff. So they know when things are. They know when around the midterm time and the final time. So they actually would tell the students like, why you stay on the video game? Don't you have a midterm? Because it's a midterm week. And sometimes all students need is a little nudge. The little nudge is what, oh, okay. So they get up and then they do their homework. And that sometimes make a whole difference if they do an A or B or C on that major test in the midterm. just as an example.
Yeah, just to know that someone's watching them, it's or caring for them or looking over the shoulder. Whereas if you're living with 3 of your friends and you're all playing the same video game, no one's going to say we should probably stop and do some homework. You know, it's just, you know, it's just that extra mom person there looking over your shoulder gives you that extra. So, and then I have had hosts message me saying, I'm not sure, maybe he's done all his work, but you know, so and so has been up playing video games for the past week straight. Is that right? And then I will check with Tim to see where they stand as far as classes, or you know, maybe they have finished all the work and they're ahead of the game and they're allowed to. But it's just to, you know, and then if they're not, then Tim can get involved and message or say something, or just to check in. Really, it's just an extra set of eyes. And then worst case scenario, I'll just send the mom a message saying, just check in with your kid, just see if he's, you know, done all these classes or something. So it's just that, yeah, it's just that extra level. So
thank you, Andy. I know you don't have 8:30. I
yeah.
really appreciate you're able to join us. And then Andy has provided his email as well as his website. We encourage you to look at his website.
It did pop up because it's still grayed out on mine. I don't know, right, but
we see it.
you do?
It.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Anytime, just shoot me a message anytime, or check the website out and see. And yeah, I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much.
Thanks so much, Tim.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you. This
Yes,
is
thank
so
you for giving us the
experience in
opportunity.
India.
Yeah, and we figure, because as a parent myself, you know, I want to know where my kids stay, right? And how I want to know who is in charge of where my kids are going to stay, especially for international student community. Like what Tim said, right? I mean, there's 3 areas. Where do you live? And where do you live in addition to the city? It really is where do you live at the home that you're going to spend at least 12 to 16 hours a day in that environment, more than the time you was physically spent on our campus. So we always feel it was very important for us to have a very good partner. 4 years ago, when we realized our students got off the airplane and they took a wrong bus and went to San Diego, go south, instead of going north, and got so lost. So we said, no, we have to fix this. This is unacceptable. That's when we talked to Andy and talked to his wife, and then they just, you know, I sent his wife and him to, because his wife was one of our students from COC and went to UCLA. So I knew her since she was our student at COC. So when we had the opportunity to send teachers to go to China, I went to Katie and I said, Katie, you guys want to go to China for like 1 year experience? She said, sure. She just got her master's degree in TESOL. And then off they went. And when they came back, I said, you know, we really need this service. You know, I know you guys are, Katie is also a ESL professor at our school. I said, if Andy is looking for something to do, I love his personality. And he ended up just loving it. He loves what he does with Homestay. And since then, about what, 3.5 years now, Tim, has been wonderful for our students.
It solved our problem. A lot of community colleges don't have this kind of solution. They might have a homestay contract with a company, but they don't have an Andy. They don't have mom stay, they have homestay. So it's really shown in the students' grades. It's an excellent program now, and it's a staple part of the ISP mission.
So it goes back to what Dr. Dohra, that you were asking about how we support students for transfer. We want to support them from day one. On day one, that was actually minus day 60 before they even came, right? Before they come, they already know where they're going to live. It reduces a lot of anxiety on the students. So they transition into the academic study a lot more faster, also more smoother. And that's really our goal, is to provide them an excellent living environment. And the good thing is we have absolutely no commercial relationship with any homestay. And that's how we like to do it. We usually want to do it in such that with our partners, we don't want them to be our vendor, right? We don't want to have anything. We want just a pure partnership. So this way, they do it out of really what they love to do, and we do from the angle what we love to do.
That's great. That's really heartening to know. So one of the things, Tim, you said was that the SATs are not important. No other testing is done. It's just the test scores here from the school maybe that are accepted. So how does the student share the manuscript? Like for maybe a university, they need to get the manuscript done and then share it with the college. So like in India, it'll vary. The IB child, you may still know from the international baccalaureate, it may still be understood. But an Indian curriculum like a CBSE or an ICSE may not be understood that well. So how do you take care of that?
So 3 things. First of all, UCLA and Berkeley, they don't care about your high school transcript by the time they're done at College of the Canyons. So don't worry about that. You've taken college level courses. That's all. They don't care about your grades in high school. The second thing is, I do accept IB for college credit, and that transfers to Berkeley. So the student's going to get that. And typically what happens is you send me a transcript. We take a look at the transcript. We do an evaluation. We assign college unit hours for courses as appropriate through the IB program. It's already been figured out with IB and College of the Canyons, and that's really easy. As far as acceptance goes, we already know about GEMS. We know about your program. We understand how you operate. We know the quality. If the student completes secondary education at GEMS, that's all I need. I don't need to know their grades. They're going to be in the same classes regardless of their grades. It's just, if they're not strong students, then they get a lot of extra free tutoring. If they don't need it or want it because they're strong students, then they don't. That's the only difference. So I'm not going to look at grades for acceptance. I don't need it.
Okay, great. Another thing is that if somebody is looking for a direct master's, that will not be possible in the community college. Will that be?
Very good question. So if a student wants to go directly to a master's degree program, there's lots of pathways to that. The students that we get are students who can't get into a master's degree program. So they come to us, they do what's called a local certificate. So it's either California or College of Canyons based recognition of a course of study. They complete that and then they apply again for the master's degree program, and now they get in. The reason is because they have taken college degree level transferable classes in the area of study that they want to be in. They've demonstrated that they can get certain grades in an academic environment. They've demonstrated their English capability, and now the California State University accepts them into the master's degree program. So the pathway to master's degree that when we see it is students who can't get accepted to the California State University master's degree programs. They need to come to us first, then they are always accepted afterwards. As long as their bachelor's degree is a real bachelor's degree at a real university that you can look up on the web, then post certificate completion at College of the Canyons gains entrance to the master's degree program.
Okay, that's a great thing to know. Okay, Kashish, you have any further questions for Tim or Dr. Jia?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Am I audible, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Hi. There's one thing. Home elements coming in, and I'm sure international students would love to have the experience the way I've been hearing it, and I think this is something very unique and very different that I've been hearing after a long time. In respect, I mean, how much flexibility is allowed to a student to be able to mix and match the programs? And since you were talking about transfers, so if I had a certain mix match of my subjects in certain other university and I come to a different university, how does that flexibility work in transfers even?
Yeah, good question. So keep in mind that the first 2 years of education in the United States, you could call it the general education program. So what that means is there are major categories like humanities, where you need to receive a certain number of credit hours or units in humanities. You've got 25 different classes to pick from. All of them perfectly good and transferable to Berkeley or UCLA. So the student gets lots of choices within those categories. So, and that goes for STEM, it goes for humanities, goes for liberal arts, any science or physics program, anything. There's lots of different choices. The student gets to make those choices in conjunction with conversations with my academic advisors. We make a plan, and every semester we relook at that plan and see, are we really going to do that for the next semester? If a student wants to pick up some other courses in some area unrelated, they are absolutely allowed to do that. And the benefit of doing that at the College of the Canyons is that the economic problem associated with taking extra experimental classes is really mitigated by the low cost of tuition. If you're at a four-year school and you're experimenting, you are spending a lot of money on experimentation. And so they have that option too. So not only can they take any of the classes, but they make a plan and they have lots of choices in that plan. And every semester we reevaluate the plan. If the student wants to go in a different direction or wants to explore something, we look at what are the consequences of that down the line. But everything is with that idea of transfer is the primary goal. So we never lose transfer. That never goes away. So it's a good program.
Thank you so much. I think that pretty much answers what I was looking forward to. So thank you.
Okay. I think I covered most of the things that I had in mind. Now, what about, when students go from here directly to any of the coveted universities, they do work to get the scholarships and so on. So when they get transferred from College of Canyons to any other college, so how does that scholarship in the tuition for the further up college, how does that work? Do they end up getting any scholarships, or then they have to pay the whole thing?
Yeah, good question. So, and we get asked that question a lot because, of course, College of the Canyons is very inexpensive compared to universities in the United States. But when you transfer, that all changes. So what happens is what we've seen, and it's the transferring university that makes that decision. What we've seen is that merit-based and sports-based scholarships are not uncommon to the next school. There's very few or no needs-based scholarships. So if you are financially needy, there's typically not a scholarship for the next level. So when we do this planning, and this is what UniBrijj does so well, when they do this planning of where are you going to do the whole package, not just College of the Canyons, but what's your socioeconomic capability or willingness to invest in your academic future, which leads to your career future and your earning potential in the future. They look at that whole package, and then they design the system to make it so that you can afford what's coming next. Then if a scholarship comes up to play American football or soccer or golf or tennis, then that just becomes a big benefit. So we have scholarships that we have seen from our students, and this is not uncommon from community colleges, that range from a minor stipend of a few $1,000s a year to a full coverage of live in the dorms for free, play sports for our team, no tuition, all of that. You just have to pay for your own outside of campus living, in the community, going to the movies. And so we've seen everything happen to our students depending on what they have. In California, the transfer school in the California State University is a very inexpensive program compared to many programs in the United States. So although the tuition doubles compared to me, it's still much less than USC at $70,000. So when you transfer to California State University system, of which there's 23 schools with guaranteed transfer programs, your tuition is gonna be about $20,000 a year, so it doubles. So when we do the planning in the high school, we plan, if you have an economic restriction, we plan on 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, 20,000. That's how much money your family is going to need to invest in the 4-year program for tuition. And then of course there's living expenses, which is why the 1 + 1 + 2 is very helpful, because it saves that first year of living expenses. Then the student moves on from there, and if they've planned right, that economic investment doesn't hurt, they can do it. And that's how we structure this. And that's how the scholarships work, merit and sports based.
Okay, thanks. That's a big help. Okay.
Can I
yeah,
propose some?
so far. Yeah.
Can I propose some out of box thinking a little bit? If we, I'm just going to use a few minutes. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Okay. So Dr. Did I say your name right? Vohra? Okay. I noticed you and I. Oh, okay. I noticed you and I have similar background. I also have a PhD in English and American literature. I specialize in post-colonial studies, post-colonial ecological feminism. So I saw quite a few similarity that you and I share. So I got really excited when I read your bio. I said, oh, this is great. And I will send you a connection through LinkedIn in a little bit. So your students, by the time they finish, even by the time they are the seniors in high school, are they over 18 years old? If you
yeah, almost 18 now.
Okay, so for us, students who can apply and study with us under either one of the conditions. One is they have to finish high school regardless of the age. So we have Chinese students who are 17 years old who come to us because they finished high school. The second one is even they haven't finished high school, if they're 18 years or older, they will be able to start taking classes with us. So for your students who are senior, and because English language is not a barrier, they are very, very welcome to start taking classes with us. And then some of the high school, what they're doing here is some of the high schools in China and in South Korea, what they do is they look at, they say American history or English 101. They actually, instead of their curriculum of English 12B, they take College of Canyons English 101. We call dual enrollment. So the high school would take that class as part of their high school graduation requirement, while they also earning college credit for the United States degree if those students later do plan to start in the I do plan to study in the United States. Just something to think about. For example, chemistry, math, especially math is so easy for Indian students. This math, calculus 1, 2, 3, what we're teaching here, you guys learn it all, in high school, freshmen were a sophomore. So, but because math is so much easier compared to, what students learn in India, it will be so much easier for students to take math, to say calculus 3, or differential equation, whatever they want to take, depends on that major. And that's what Tim was talking about in response to the question by Ms. Bach, because this way our counselor will be able to work with your counselor, look at what student's pathway is, and then arrange the classes, either math or English or other humanities classes that your students later can apply to their college degree classes. That's something that perhaps we can look into more details later if you want to connect, because now everything is online, right? It is until the end of 2020. So because of that case, why prevent students from learning instead of slowing down? We want them to learn ahead. And if you have students who are senior, who are self-disciplined, that you are very confident with proper guidance, they can do well at the freshman level introductory college classes. We will work with you for students to be able to start taking classes with us.
Okay, that's great. Kashish, I think this should be taken forward in some way at the school, right? And we can maybe broaden the scope of this once we take it forward with the children. Thank you so much, Dr. Jia. This is wonderful to know, actually. Maybe very useful for some children in India, especially at the current situation where some of the board exams are postponed, and there's a lot of uncertainty around it for the children who are currently in our grade 12. So in India, we have high school plus 2 years in school, and then they move to college. So, which is why you probably find that they're better off in maths and some other subjects. So yeah, that's how it works. And would love to discuss some other time about the kind of PhD work which you have done. Yes, post-colonial studies is one of the very key topics that I have been working on. It's now the direction of my career has completely changed with schools and education and all that stuff. But yeah, these were more of my areas of interest when I was in college.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I will send you a connection request on LinkedIn, and we can have the counselors meet with the counselors because they can do the course map. And then this way, either students start it at the second year of high school, or students after they complete, even before they apply, we can have counselor talk to the counselors. This way, they will be able to see, okay, if you finish this, and you can start taking that classes. We would love to have the counselors know more about our program and the classes, how we do, because I think this is really down to the counselor's level. That's more the detail. That's what students need. We as administrators, we make it basically visionary thinking, right? We plot out the better pathway for partnership, and that is really what we call the foot soldiers on the ground, which is the most essential ones, that are the counselors that are truly making the students successful. Because if when they take the right classes, we know they will thrive.
Yeah, that's really good. So yes, so Kashish, lots for you to look into. So the connection between the counselors will really help, and Naksha, I'm sure you can make that happen, like suggested here, right? Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think we're done with our questions.
Yeah.
A wonderful session, lots of thoughts, lots of different ideas, in fact, because yes, everybody talks about college admission and stuff, but this is a very, very different way of going about it, which can work. And thanks to Afsha, you suggested that since I do worry about the economics of things, she said that you may want to listen to this one. So yeah, you were right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I
So
really want
thank
to
you
thank
everyone for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afsha and Nupur, you guys are wonderful. I mean, we have worked with many
Thank you. So are
across
you.
the world.
Thank
guys are
you.
nothing but the best. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
And
Thank you.
we
Thank you,
also
everyone. Thank you.
Thank
feel
you.
the same
We
time
connect
kind
soon.
of vibe from your end as well. So we have seen your devotion and your enthusiasm towards your work, and we really appreciate that. And definitely will be joining soon with a number of few schools.
Of course.
Wonderful. And then Marissa will be sending you a collection of our material through Dropbox, and some of that will be a lot of more pictures, that today we didn't get to show. We have a very short video about what our campus look like. It's absolutely beautiful campus. We love it. I love it. We have 2 campuses and it's beautiful. We're building a brand new biology building. I mean, state-of-the-art biology labs. I mean, better than students will experience in anywhere in the California system or anywhere in the United States. So we're very proud of that. We got a huge grant. Our local committee is really supportive of it. We passed bonds that we're building this huge building that's starting starting fall 2021. So by the time your students come, they get to play in the most advanced chemistry and biology lab. So I'm really excited about it.
Dr. Jai, it would be appreciable if you can share the presentation with us that Tim has already shared in this session, so that we can forward it to the school, and definitely they can have a look of it again in depth.
For sure. And then Marita will send the link, and then including Tim's PowerPoint, and then the videos that about our campus.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
And Aksha, it will be great if we can have a recording of this session, because then the students can listen to this discussion directly. There'll be a lot of ideas that come to them. And
Ma'am, we'll be uploading this recording on our YouTube channel very soon. So we'll share the link with you so that you can forward it to your students.
Okay, do let me know then whenever you know. Then
Sure,
yes,
we
the
will.
link.
We will.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't worry, we'll be
Thanks.
sharing the link. We'll be sharing the link of YouTube channel.
Okay, great, great.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
once
sorry, you were
again.
saying.
Everybody. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Have
you,
a wonderful
Krish. Thank you,
Bye
Tim,
bye.
Martha. Bye-bye. Have a good day, and rest of us have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.